All right, guys. So what we need to do is import the auth actions into this chat actions file, as we need to actually set the token that we successfully received in the last video. So let's go ahead and import all as auth actions from current directory auth actions. And then what we'll get here, if we look in the terminal, no, we need to look in the logged in is the type that gets sent back, and this is the structure of it. So what we need to do is basically when the socket gets messaged, we will need to capture it here. So we'll write socket on message, and this is going to be the message event. So we'll just say message for now. And we'll put it through a switch similar to what we did on the server itself. So switch, and we'll actually need to parse it. So we'll say let data equals JSON.parse message. And here we'll create the switch on data.type. And if there's a default, then do nothing. If the case is logged in, then we need to dispatch auth actions logged in along with the data altogether. And we'll worry about that later. Right now, actually. So in auth actions, let's go ahead and export const logged in. I think that's how I spelt it. No, it's camel case. Logged in. And we're going to get the data. And with dispatch, we will return dispatch. And here we're going to dispatch type is logged in, and then the payload is going to be data. So let's save this. And then in our auth reducer, now we can say case logged in. Then we will set token. Now we will return the existing state, and we will set token to action.payload. I can't remember the shape of that. Okay, let me save this. Socket on message is not a function. So let's go to chat actions. No, it's just not, it doesn't like that socket on message function. So what we need to do is change this, or rather I did, one sec. Down here after the on open, we'll say on message equals this. and then get rid of that. And let's console log message here, because I don't think that it will be giving us the like the top level stuff that we send back. Maybe it will. One sec. Let's try this. So let's hit login, and in the console we've got message event. So we've got to get the data, which is right here. So message dot data is what we've actually got to parse. So I can get rid of that. And then when we actually get it, let's look at the network tab. So we've got data, and then we've got session ID. So in auth reducer here, it's going to be action.payload.session.id. We'll set the user to action.payload.data.user. So action.payload.data.session.id. And then user is action.payload.data.user. So let's save this. Let's log in. And then if I go into React and we look at this component, token is null. User is still an empty object. So let's see in auth actions. We do not need this dispatch here. So let's save this, then log in, and nothing has happened yet, so let's have a look. Okay, so we do have our token now getting set and our user account getting set. So now what we need to do is in our app, which is over here, in these switches, what we will do is render and here we'll basically just say if this dot props dot token, we will return a redirect to just / else return auth. And the same will be true for the sign-up component. Something about this doesn't look right. I'm missing a, okay. Yeah, because that's for the if statement. All right. So then the same for sign-up. If there's a token, then we will redirect to the home page, the root page. Otherwise, we will not. So that is very basically how to get us logged in. We don't have a login button right now. So, I mean, what I can do is for right now, let's just create a button here. It calls this .props.logout. And then in app.js, we will create logout here and dispatch auth actions.logout. And then let me close some of these because we don't need a lot of these open. So in auth actions here, let's export const log out. And we're going to return dispatch. And we will dispatch type logged out. And payload is null. We don't really need anything for that. And I'm pretty sure in app we haven't imported auth actions. No. So let's import all as auth actions from the current directory and store actions auth actions. And then in the auth reducer over here, we're going to create our case for logged out. And all we will do is return the existing state and the default state. So it's going to set the just in case we like put any other properties in here in the future, we're going to set the state and then overwrite it with the default state as necessary. So now when I click this, we're logged out. So we can log in and then we can log out. So that is, I guess, how we're going to auth this thing. Now, in the chat server itself, which I've closed, what happens is when we actually connect, let me go ahead and open it. So here we see, actually right here in the login function, we can get a list of existing threads for this user and send them over as well. Now, the great thing about the WebSocket is we don't have to include it in anything. We can, this little bit of code right here is pushing data to the client, but we can keep pushing data to the client outside of that. And so that's why WebSockets are so fun. But we're also going to need to keep a running list of who's connected with what ID so that we can properly manage who to send new messages to as messages are added to the thread. And so we'll be getting into that in a little bit as well.